Okay, you are viewing a video, how to build a Weed Wacker bike. And I have looked at a lot of videos and I decided to make a video that would handle the complete beginning to end of construction of a Weed Wacker bike. So let me just give you a quick peek here. Here's the engine. Happens to be off a Toro Weed Wacker. You can see the bracketing system here. And here's the original bike. It's got the speed on the handlebars, not on the twist grips, so it doesn't interfere with the throttle that's added later. And then down below here, you'll see a spring that's kind of dangling there, and that gets connected up here to a screw eye that's right there, and that will create the tension that's put on the friction shaft that's on the shaft of the motor. So before I get into the details here, I think it'd be better if you take it for a spin and see if you like it. If you like it, then it's worthy of finishing up the video, and I've got a lot of hints, etc. on here. And so here, take it for a ride. Now, go ahead. Here, have fun. Take it for a ride. How'd you like it? Okay, I hope you liked your ride, and if you're still interested in watching this video now, if you enjoyed it that much, I'll give you an explanation of what's going on with this Weed Wacker bike, some important tips on how to build one yourself. So first of all, I want to just emphasize that if you want to use a throttle, then you're going to need some speed changers like this, because you're going to have to free up this area for the throttle. So speed changing must be done in another way. I want to show you the kill switch that I put on here. Kill switch here, and a speedometer I restored from about 1970s maybe. And this is what I wanted, an analog speedometer on there. And going back to the gas engine here, I did run my cables across here and just put some zip straps on there to keep those away. And here's the gas engine here. This is a Toro 25cc gas engine, and thank you, Galen, for the engine. It works great. I appreciate your donation to the project. And as you'll notice here, it's mounted on the bottom on this plate, and I'm going to get into the mounting here now. So if you'll notice, there's a spring down here that's not attached. That's the spring that creates the tension to keep the drive shaft on the tire, because that's how this operates, from friction on the tire. And what we've got here is we've got a horizontal piece that is attached to the, you might say, the fork here. You'll see there's 4 10-24 screws that go through the fork, and you'll see them attached here with lock nuts, lock washers and nuts to keep that from vibrating. It's a simple bracket. You don't have to do any welding on this style. You just drill the holes. You have to line them, spot the holes correctly, and drill corresponding holes with transfer punch I used. And this piece of metal here is just simply bolted on, and it hangs over the edge there, and that size is 1.5 by 1/4 cold rolled steel. And the hinge here is something I got from a home center. It's a simple utility hinge, and here's the action on the engine. It just simply is hinged. Okay, very simple. And over here you'll see how the shaft is rubbing on it, and this is the shaft adapter. And so when you go ahead and go with a project like this, since the shafts are so different, you probably have to have something made up possibly at a machine shop if you can't fabricate it yourself. Thank you, Lewis, by the way, for manufacturing this for me. It works great. Appreciate your donation there. And so we've got the gas engine mounted on this plate, and the plate is 1/4 inch by about 5 or 6 inches wide. And here's the cold roll steel samples for the 2 pieces I had to buy. I'll show you some still photos at the end, which will help explain how this all came to be. This engine is similar to this engine here that's going to be on another project. You notice the gas tank is on the bottom. It's exactly how this gas tank was. I took the gas tank off, wanted to relocate it so the filler is on top so I can get maximum fuel in there, because otherwise it would be horizontal and not work too well in this case. I used the 3 threaded holes in the casting of the engine that were used for the gas tank for attaching it to this plate. So one of them was slightly offset, so I had to build a washer, and I epoxied some washers together to create a bushing so I could get that. And those holes are down here on the bottom. You'll see how those are holding it down, and that worked out well. And then I had made these brackets to put the gas tank back there so it looks pretty cool. And then I had to have the gas lines, longer gas lines of course, modify that, and I ran those through some, looks like 3/8 copper tubing that I flared out to protect from fraying due to vibration. These little guys vibrate quite a bit, and I brought them down back into the carburetor where they belong. So that's worked out very nicely. And here is I'm going to take this off so you can take a look at how the throttle is set up. So we're taking the screw off here. And it's kind of worked out nice how this engine sits on here. It really doesn't look like it was too badly homemade. It looks pretty well designed. Okay, and so here is the throttle. You'll need to connect the throttle cable. And the throttle cable just simply comes in like this. And there's a clamp that was factory on there. I just slipped that in. There's a little cradle there for it. And then I put a piece of sleeve here. I had to make this homemade little piece to lock onto the cable, and this extension keeps it from interfering with the other pieces underneath there. That worked out real nice. And I brought the kill switch wires over to here, where I just used this. I made this as a bracket to hold them in, held in there by that screw, and then I just reconnected the wires that were connected to the original kill switch right there, and then there's the ground. And that was pretty easy to do too. And let's see here. Here is the spring tensioning spring that is used to keep the tension down so it stays tight on the tire. And that I connected to a screw eye that I drilled and tapped. And that is, I'll try to get that. There it is right there. And that will attach to that and keep the tension on it. And this simple 59-cent hose clamp is the tension adjustment. As you loosen that and slide this farther forward, it increases the tension. So you can get a fine adjustment on that. That's the way it turned out for me based on this particular bike design. This is probably the ugliest bike that I could have found, but it had all the right features I needed for this conversion. And this particular piece of wire here I include in my trip. It's just a simple hunk of wire, heavy gauge, probably about 0.156, 5/32 in diameter. I use this, and I keep it on rubber bands so I can suspend the motor up. If I want to go to ride the bike, I can just bring the motor up and I can hook it right on to one of these pins here, and then I can just ride it as a normal bike. So it's cool as this bike can be ridden and as a normal bike, and then if you get tired or whatever, you can then drop the engine, put the spring on, and just pedal it, and it starts. You don't have to worry about starting. You just pedal it, and it'll start in 20-30 feet. And that's pretty much it. Let's see, I cover everything here. Speedometer. Yeah, I think that's all there is to this. And in a few moments here, you're going to be seeing some still shots of how I did this. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that I have an inexpensive $79 bench top drill press, which made it a little easier to make some precision holes in here. I'll shoot this from this side here for you. That's the engine from this side, power end. And I had a sawzall to do with a metal cutting blade to cut the steel stock, and just a few miscellaneous hand tools, but nothing really spectacular. And this is a cool non-weldable project. It took probably, I did a little bit every day, so it took 3 or 4 months to do. But anyways, this is it. There's a full shot of the Weed Wacker bike, and it's really fun. And if you're interested, follow these photos you're going to see soon. It can give you a little more ideas on how to put this together. Alright, thanks for watching, and hang on, here's more photos.